a story about a girl who was kidnapped from and put into human trafficking from some sporting event in Texas. And they already had her in another state. She was recovered from a motel, but it wasn't because they actually have some issues with how the police handled it. They didn't handle it as a kidnapping. They thought she just ran away. The parents knew different. So they found an agency that deals in human trafficking, and they were able to find her 10 days later in a hotel being human trafficked. My point is every second counts.
Yes.
And even though you might not need this app every single day, the day you need it, it's like having a flat tire on your car. If you have a flat tire and you don't have a jack, that's when you're going to need it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Let's Talk, the podcast for human skills and mindset. Bullying, sex trafficking, and there are so many things in our society which, as an individual, we would like to cure them. At the same time, we have some opinions. When we are in a conversation with other individuals, we would like to kind of condemn any kind of act around these things in our society. However, there are some visionaries who would like to do something about it, and they act rather than just talking about it. And one of the individuals I'm so excited to talk about today is Tammy Haldeman. She has created an amazing app to circumvent these kind of issues and give back to the society in a certain way. So, Tammy, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. That was a very kind introduction, Sarah.
My pleasure. So I really mean it. Can you just give us some information about what is this app is all about? And again, I just forgot to mention, you're not even a visionary. You have created this app from the scratch. I'll start with the why. Why this app, and what was your motivation factor on this?
Well, just to give you a little backstory, I am not a person that has ever thought about developing an app. I'm not a person who really sat around and thought about bullying or human trafficking or kidnapping. I mean, I would hear stories and it would, of course, affect me, but I wasn't a person who thought of doing something about it. And then one day, well, first of all, I heard a story about a little girl in our state who was only 10 years old, and she was being bullied. And she was bullied to the point of she committed suicide. Wow. And it just broke my heart. And I feel like it broke my heart open so that I was ready to get this idea. And honestly, I can only call this idea a gift. I was working out one morning in my home, and this idea just came to me of how this app could work and how it could help people and hopefully save lives. And as I continued to get ready that morning, just piece after piece came flooding in. And I thought, I have to do something about this. And then I told my husband, and I said, listen to this idea I just got. And he said, wow, you have to do something with that. It's important. You have to do something with that. And that's how it all began.
That's heart touching. Yep. Sometimes one incident, it doesn't need to be someone you know or in your family member. Sometimes it's like one incident would really rattle you enough to make certain decisions in your life. And I think I congratulate your husband as well for supporting, because the support of the family member, if you are doing something like this, I would be curious to know about the journey, because making up a mind of having no background of creating or developing an app and then trying to get into this stage where we are talking about this app. How was the journey looks like, if you help us walk through that? Your challenges, your successes, and all those things.
Yeah, 100% accurate that if he wouldn't have said, yeah, you have to do it. Well, first of all, it takes money. So we depleted our savings. It took time. There were moments of frustration, but I'll start by saying I was set up to have an interview with Dane Maxwell from Start From Zero, another podcaster, author. And I wanted to talk to him about monetizing my podcast. And that's what the interview or the appointment was for. And then I got this idea. It turns out, on my sister's birthday. My sister passed away in 2008. And it just happened to be her birthday the day I received this idea. I was supposed to talk to him on Monday. And instead of talking to him about monetizing my podcast, I wanted to talk to him about this idea. And he was kind of less than enthusiastic about it at first. He said, everybody gets good ideas and, it's what you do with it and things like that. But after I emailed him the specifics of the idea and told him how it would work, he's like, that's a great idea. You've got to do this. And so he actually was the one who helped me get in touch with Jordy Wardman from One Stop Development Shop. And he was the one who got me in touch with developers, and that's how it originated. Jordy's in Switzerland. My developers were in India. And so, of course, there was a time change difference. I was getting up in the middle of the night, 1, 2 in the morning to have conversations with these guys over Slack. And let me just tell you, I didn't even know what Slack was until this started. So then I would tell them, these are my ideas. We communicated via Slack and Loom videos, and I'd send them a video saying, and it all started with me drawing out. I traced my phone, and then I made each screen that I thought should come to life on a piece of paper with a pencil, honest to God. And so then that's what I originally started showing them. And then I made a video explaining how it should work. And through a lot of hard work and determination and not giving up and explaining it and saying, no, that's not how I didn't envision it like that. I envisioned it like this. Communication was a big thing, but it was, of course, there was some language barrier as well. How I say something versus how they interpret it. And now I feel like I have friends in India and a friend in Switzerland, and I could call them anytime and say, how's it going today? And they'd be happy to hear from me. So that's how it originated. Through the course of 16 to 18 months of this communication and a lot of money, we depleted our savings, and we worked through a lot of frustrating days. Getting it on the App Store is not as easy as one might guess. It has a recording piece to it. And I'll explain how the app works too, of course, but it has a recording piece to it as well. So we had to work through those legalities and intricacies of how you can do that. So that's kind of the backstory of how we developed it. And I can go into how it actually works if you want me to, if you want to ask questions in between, it's fine.
Definitely. We will go to that part as well. And your app name is Your Shield.
Yes, it's called Your Shield, and it's...
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. It's only available on iOS right now.
Right now. Okay. So the thing which you explain shows a lot of things which I think everyone should learn. First of all, as you mentioned, that ideas are worthless until and unless you execute on them. And you reached out to different folks out there with these ideas, communication, reaching out to the people, expressing your intent I have read a lot of time, and it's human psychology that when you have a direction in your mind and you reached out to the people, naturally they will incline to help you. I mean, when we need some help, sometimes we would be like, why someone X, Y, or Z would help me? But when we give a clear direction, I gave this example to a couple of folks that if you're looking for a job in New York, and you say that I'm looking for a job in New York. Okay, good for you. But then if I change the way how I speak, I'll say that I'm looking a cybersecurity job in New York, somewhere in like the big 5 companies out there. Then automatically the person who's listening through, his or her brain starts working. Oh, okay, cybersecurity. I may know one person. Let me just try to reach that person out. So you can see how the things changes. So when you're very specific about your requirements, and I think that's might have happened in your case, you reached to the person in Switzerland. Now you have friends also in India. So you can see that, and you must have those experiences, which otherwise would be very difficult to get. And also you have your challenges from monetary perspective as well. So that's a great story, Tammy, over here.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing is, and I hope this isn't a little too woo-woo for you or your guests, but I believe that when you set your mind to something, and I even believe in the power of writing it down, I believe the universe conspires to work for us.
Yeah.
That we put that out there. It's something that we're committed to. We've like for myself, I make a vision board every year, and I made that vision board. My app was on my vision board, and those things come to fruition because the whole universe is conspiring to help us. Yes,
exactly. So let's move on to the other section. So you mentioned about this app. When you started working on this particular app, and you mentioned that it's kind of challenging publishing the apps. It's not easy. Like there's one part of creating the app and then publishing because of the voice concerns and all. And then there are a lot of, I being a cybersecurity person, I know that there are certain related to the governance, the regulations, and as you said, the voice recording and privacy side of the house. I'm assuming that you must have faced a lot of challenges, and that too when you're not actively working on these technologies by yourself.
Yes, definitely. There were things that I just assumed we could just build this and then get it on the App Store. And I was oblivious to all of the different things that could come into play. I'm envisioning we record this voice, and if anybody ever wants to get it, they can request it, something like that. It would just be housed in this magical cloud or something, and then we could just get it. But through the legal aspects and Apple and things like that, I found out that you have to make it so that it's the user themselves can play the recording as well. So that was another thing that we had to change midstream while we're developing this. All of a sudden it's like, oh, we got to switch gears and make a recording piece. And there were even times that my developers, the people I were working with, said, well, do we really need that piece? And I'm like, no, this makes it, this is an important piece of it. We have to do this. It tracks your location once your word is uttered. Well, do we have to have it, track the location in live time? Yes, that's important, so there were times that I think both of us wanted to maybe make it easier. And we knew that to do the right thing by the app, by the idea, we had to pursue it and keep going, even though it might take a little longer, even though it might be a little bit more frustrating, even though it might be something we didn't know how to do yet. We had to teach ourselves. We still had to do that.
Yeah.
To make it the best that we could.
And I think the wisdom also comes through not the outcome, but the process. So you have seen all these processes. You see that how different personalities have some conflicting thought process and how we can navigate through to create a win-win situation or clarify, right? Listen and try to clarify that. So when you started creating this app, did you research, is there any similar app already available in the public domain?
There is public safety apps out there. To my knowledge, there's none that are, it's a voice activated app. So you activate it. I mean, you can turn it off and on the user can at their will. But a word is what activates it. And you program the word yourself. And you also program your alert partners. To my knowledge, there's nothing like that.
Nothing like that. Most
of the apps that I researched, they will trigger help, maybe trigger EMS, or, maybe trigger their, like if they, I'm not exactly sure how they work, I guess, but I'm assuming that you have to touch your phone. In this instance, you record a word and it's your own word. It could be lollipop. It could be security, whatever that word may be that you can remember easily in a stressful situation, and also work it in so that you can say something, I envision a little boy, he's got a lemonade stand maybe, and maybe some guy comes along and he's bullying him, and his word is lemonade, and he says, I just want to sell lemonade. And as he says the word lemonade, it triggers a message to his mother or his father or a friend that comes to his aid and says, hey, stop bullying him.
Oh, okay. So I think now you are explaining about the app. It may be a good time to start having the discussion how it app works, because as you mentioned that they are not those kind of apps. And I know that there are certain government agencies who run some call, like those toll-free numbers, helplines. However, just help us walk through why this app is different from others and how exactly it works through, so that people can educate themselves and definitely be motivated to get this app in their iOS at this time and maybe Android in future. Yes,
hopefully very soon we'll start having it available on Android.
Yeah.
The differences are that you record your own word and you can change that word at will in the app. It starts a recording, an audio recording, once you say the word, and it also starts tracking your location. So say, for example, in the case of kidnapping, they grab a child, the child says the word, and it immediately starts recording audio and sending that child's location or that adult's location to their alert partners and tracking them in live time. So even if the kidnapper starts, takes the phone away, say, for example, they have a head start on where that person was kidnapped from and where they're headed, the direction they're going. It's so crucial. Within seconds can make a huge difference in recovering that person. I'm kind of getting off topic, but I just read a story about a girl who was kidnapped from and put into human trafficking from some sporting event in Texas, and they already had her in another state. She was recovered from a motel, but it wasn't because they actually have some issues with how the police handled it. They didn't handle it as a kidnapping. They thought she just ran away. The parents knew different. So they found an agency that deals in human trafficking, and they were able to find her 10 days later in a hotel being human trafficked. My point is, every second counts.
Yes.
And even though you might not need this app every single day, the day you need it, it's like having a flat tire on your car. If you have a flat tire and you don't have a jack, that's when you're going to need it. And if you don't have a flat tire and you don't have the jack, then you're never going to know it's not there. It's kind of like this. This app is going to be there when you need it if you have it on your phone. And you can activate it at times when Maybe it's as simple as you're walking out of work one day and it's dark and you activate it and then you have it at the ready to say that word. And the beauty of it is your assailant will never know you've activated help. They won't have that heads up that help is on the way.
So as you said, activate, this is something which we have to activate every time, or so, for example, you mentioned Lemonade. So I would like to dig deeper on that. So
Sure.
in terms of configuring this app, we have to put in some keywords so that the app get activated, or we have to do something manually at this time?
Yeah. So when you download the app, it will prompt you to record 2 words. The first word is your alert word that will it triggers a message to be sent to your alert partners, which you also program in manually. And so it can be anybody that you want it to be. And it will start recording audio and tracking your location and sending it to your partner. So your partner can track you in live time. We've tested it many times. My husband can actually, if I trigger it, he can watch me walk from the front of the building to the back of the building. It's that intricate. Now, when you do the second word is a word that you choose that is different, and it will trigger a message to your partner saying, call EMS, this person's life is in danger. So the first word may be you just think that possibly you're not in a good situation and they could come to your help, or also tracking your location. The second word is, my life's in danger, call 911 and give them this location. And again, the assailant will not know that you have triggered that, and they won't know that help is on the way. So that's more moments that you buy to get the help there when you need it. I'm thinking of things like domestic abuse, for example. Maybe the husband doesn't know the wife has Your Shield on her phone, and she says her word, and her neighbor rushes over and knocks on the door and maybe saves her life. I'm thinking of times in human trafficking or kidnapping where those crucial moments, nobody knows that you've triggered it, and they haven't thought to throw your phone out the window yet, for example. I see it saving lives in so many ways that it could even save a life in the way that a bully, because suicide rates are so high amongst bullied children. So it could save a life in the way that a bully could be bullying a child, and maybe because he hears about Your Shield, it might stop him or give him pause. Do I really want to bully this kid because he might have Your Shield on his phone and I'll get caught?
Okay, that's wonderful to hear. So is this a free or a paid app?
It is free for the first, I believe it's 7 days. Mm-hmm. And then it's very affordable, $4.99 a month subscription. If you have 6 or more people, it's $24.99 a month subscription. We're also working on eventually having it a yearly subscription. If you want to do a whole year, you could do it that way as well. But we don't have that yet. Perfect.
And are there some features which you're working, which you would like to disclose here to enhance this app at this point?
Really, the only enhancement that we're working on right now is getting it available for Android. And it's not really an enhancement. It's more some things that we have to do to work with getting it on the Google Play. It's actually harder to get it on there than it is Apple, believe it or not. So I didn't know that would be an issue either. Live and learn through this whole process has been learning. And I think if anybody that's listening has a good idea, for an app, one thing I'll say is there's no day that you go, yay, we're done. There is numerous days that you think, oh, this is it, we're finally done. And then it's not, because you think of something better, or you can't get it on the App Store, or you get kicked out of the App Store for a few days because you were giving your password to your developer.
Yeah.
Numerous different things.
Yeah, I think it's a journey. Obviously,
it is such a journey.
in the technology, we cannot just stop at certain things. So they may be a pit stop, but it's a continuous journey. So in this particular app, how exactly you simulate? As you mentioned, you tracked a location, but did you try, I assume you must have tried like simulating a call, like they are calling to the agencies, or I don't know, 911, or how exactly you did that?
So the app doesn't actually call 911. It just sends a message to your alert partners saying that they should call 911 and let them know that they're in trouble. And they know because of this app, and they know their location, and they can give them the coordinates.
Oh, okay. Got it. And the other question is, which countries we can download these apps? Is it like worldwide available, or it's only selected countries at this point?
That's one of the enhancements we're working on. It's available in the US right now. I believe it's available in the UK right now, but we're working on getting it in other countries as well.
Okay, perfect. So that's great. And I think the last question would be, or I would say second last, is you mentioned about you wrote one or a few books out there. Would you like to just kind of give us some information about that as well?
Sure. I have 2 books. I wrote a book called Take My Advice, I Don't Use It Anyway. And it was kind of a journey through, it was therapy. My sister, like I said, was diagnosed with ovarian cancer in 2005, and I also went through a divorce in 2005. So 2 great losses. My sister passed in 2008, my mom passed in 2009, and my dad in 2012. So I lost my family in a very short time. And so it was a therapy, so to speak. Take my advice, I don't use it anyway, of how to get through some tough stuff and still have a good attitude about life. And I hesitate to call it a self-help book, but I want people to get growth from it. So I'm going to call it a growth book. Mm-hmm. And the other book I have is called Do More, Be More, Lessons for Living a Life Uplifted. And it's similar. Both of the books have stories. My dad always taught us life lessons by telling us a story. And that was one of the reasons I was attracted to this podcast, because you seek out stories about life that teach things. And so he would tell us stories. Well, that's what the book does. Do More, Be More will give a story and what I learned from it, and then ask a question. And there's a place to write. It's almost journalistic, so that you can write down things that you learned from it and takeaways that you can take from it to apply to your life and your story.
That's wonderful. So, are these books available like in Amazon? Where exactly, which platform people can look into these books?
So the best place to get it is at my website, which is www.upliftuniverse.com. I also have a Facebook page called Uplift Universe. And then, like I said, Your Shield is available in the App Store. And then the Shield Me Home website is also where you can go to find out more about the app.
Okay. And for viewers and listeners, we can add all these information in our show notes in the description below, so that you can reach out. So the last question, Tammy, to you is, what's your advice to the people? I'm sure you wrote 2 books. You have an experience about the app. You're doing a noble work in terms of trying to curtail certain issues in our society as a human being as well. So what's your advice to the people who would like to pursue something which they really believe in? And what are those steps looks like for you?
I would say, well, first of all, I'm committed to being the change that I wish to see in the world. And I think everyone should apply that to their life in whatever way you can. If you're becoming a better person, you're making the world a better place. Secondly, I think if you have something like this in mind, find someone or a group of people that believe in you and will be there to support you through the whole thing. Someone that you trust and you can work with, and just just start working towards your goal. You'll be amazed at the doors that open. You'll be amazed at the people that are willing to help you. Never give up. Doesn't matter how tough it gets. Keep going. Find a way. If it's important, there's a way to get it done. And if you strongly believe that something is worth starting, it's also worth finishing.
Perfect. Great advice. Tammy, thank you so much for providing your insights and explaining about the app and about your books. I'm really looking forward to the listeners and viewers to look into this app specifically and see how much beneficial. And I think you must be open for feedback if there is any enhancement, which people would like to provide you as well.
Absolutely. 100%. You can reach me at Tammy@upliftuniverse.com or at the Shield Me Home website. There's a place to reach out as well.
That's great. So thank you so much, Tammy, for providing your time, and have a wonderful life. And please keep on doing what you're doing so far.